Hello agents, and welcome back to another Division video. Today I've got another build video for you, and this is for soloing legendaries. I've got a video on my YouTube of me soloing Roosevelt Island by myself, and this is the build that I used. As you can see, it's a skill build. There's a couple of changes I do make to it mid-mission, and I'll talk about them a little bit later on. But because I'm running a rifle, I chose to keep the Fox's per knee pads in for some damage because they're really good for damage, and therefore I ran the launcher specialization, which we'll have a very brief look at. So we'll go into technician. Obviously make sure you spec into the gun you're going to be using. Because we're fighting the White Tusk, the 12% damage to drones and skill proxies comes in super handy. And it also gives us a skill tier which lets us run a red. Going back to the gear, I chose to go with the Mark 17, but to be honest, just go with whatever gun you're comfortable with. What is important though on your guns, that you run spike, 20% skill damage for 8 seconds. Now if you wanted to, I haven't got a very good one so I chose not to, but you could also run a surge. So if you've got a good surge, use that because obviously it's going to give you 25% as well. Secondary weapon, I went with the White Death because it hits really hard. I don't use it too much, but I wanted something that would hit really hard in an emergency situation. We're always keeping our distance, we're always running away. That's the tactic with doing it solo and letting our skills do the most of the damage. But if I needed to put out some really quick burst damage, then I wanted to go with the White Death. But again, completely up to you, but I would recommend obviously spike on there as well. Offhand can be whatever you like. I don't have any use for it. Obviously you could run this and get perfect spike if you wanted to as well. I didn't actually run it at all, but it's a nice addition to the build. Now what we want to aim for in the gear is going to be 1 China Light, we want 1 Wyvern, 2 Hana-U, and then the Fox's Purrs. First of all, we'll go over the Acosta's Go Bag. I use the Acosta's Go Bag because all you have to do is simply throw a grenade and it's going to give you skills overcharge, which gives them much more survivability and much more damage. So it's worth doing for, you know, a 60-second cooldown, plus it gives us, you know, 3 extra grenades, an extra armor kit, extra ammo. It adds 10% to repair skills and status effects, which we don't use, but it's just all round really good. I've got a skill haste mod in there, and it already comes with skill damage, which is perfect, and skill haste, and obviously a skill tier. So it's just such a good bag for this build, to be able to consistently overcharge frequently, really easily just by throwing a grenade. It's pretty much a certain. We're going to go with the mask next. So explosive damage is on the China Light one piece. And then we've got skill tier, we've got skill haste, we've got skill damage, and we've got skill duration. The explosive damage is for at some point later on in the mission we use the Seekers, so we wanted some extra damage for that. Next we're going to go with the chest piece. Skill damage from the Wyvern, which is brilliant. Core attribute obviously skill tier. This one is where it's not perfect for me. I've got status effects which is absolutely pointless. So skill damage here would be great. Skill haste as well, and I've got skill haste in the mod. I would definitely go with Unbreakable. This procs so much during my run, and because we're not running 2 skills and we're not running a hive, having this as your safety net, as your extra life, is definitely worth it. You'll see in the video that I play a bit reckless until this procs, and then I'll sit back and play a bit more cautious until this comes back, and just keep doing that all the way through the mission. Without Unbreakable, I certainly wouldn't be able to do it. We'll go with the knee pads before we go to the Hana-U's. So 10% rifle damage, but we've rolled on 10% skill damage. These are great because they're usually just my all red build ones. This is usually a crit hit chance for me, so absolutely perfect. But 15% weapon damage and 8% multiplicative damage still means that reds and purples and even yellows we can still kill when we really need to if an emergency situation crops up. If you're running perhaps like an M1A with spike or an LMG with spike and things like that, that would help even more. It's a bit of a spam fest with the military MK17, and I went with the idea with that to get the headshots really quickly, because it's not a headshot kill, it's actually just a headshot to grant spike. So I went with something that I could spam. So maybe think about that when you're looking at what to run. You could obviously run contractors gloves if you wanted to go LMGs instead. I just went with foxes because they're really good because of the damage to target out of cover. So next, let's take a look at the Hana U. Hana U 2-piece brand set bonus. First of all, 10% skill haste and 10% skill damage, perfect for what we're running. Core attribute is skill tier, and then we've got skill haste and skill damage in the attributes, and you want that the same on both of these pieces. So as you can see on the gloves, skill damage and skill haste, as close a cap as you possibly can. And that completes all of the gear. Makes it really easy. Really good. Lots of damage and lots of skill haste is effectively what you want to stack across the board, and we just have a little bit of explosive damage for later on in the mission. First of all, we're going to look at the first skill, and the first two skills you're going to be using in the legendary is the sniper turret. Well, for Roosevelt Island anyway. You can see that tier 6 gives us 90% extra damage, 12 extra sniper ammo, and 420% health. It's really tanky, really tanky, and it goes absolutely crazy tanky when you use your Acosta's bag and you get overcharge on it as well. You get another 90% extra damage, 15 extra sniper ammo, 560% health with 100% rate of fire. It's really good. So if you've got a chunga coming at you or a dog, get overcharge on and use this to get them dead as quick as you can. Just to look at the mods that I've got on, I have a duration mod, a damage mod, and a skill haste mod. I use this in combination with the striker drone because the striker drone pushes enemies out of cover and therefore then allows them to be sniped. If we take a look at the striker drone, at tier 6 we get 120% extra damage, of 420% health, and when we're overcharged we're at 175% damage with 420% health. It's a really good combination because all the enemies are wandering around and you can just snipe away. I've got a duration, a damage, and a health mod on. You could run Seeker Mines instead, but I found that I wasn't as safe and the enemies were much more concerned with me when I was running just the sniper turret and the Seeker Mines. In this combination, they very rarely bother with me. They like to bother with the two skills before they start to bother with me, so it just makes me feel a little bit more safe when running it. On the latter half of the mission, the last two sections though, what I did change to run was I ran the assault turret version, and then I also ran the cluster seeker mines because there's no cover really in the last two sections, so these two skills just work out way better. And then for the bosses at the end, I went with the assault turret and the striker drone because both of them two skills can hit the flying bosses at the end and help me put some extra damage on. What I did do at that point as well, because I'm not hitting any heads at that point, I switched to my classic M1A just for some extra damage to try and assist the skills to get the boss down as quick as possible. And that's it, and that's the build. Check out the run, it's in the description down below. Come and check me out over on Twitch, twitch.tv/DJTICKLE, where you'll find me running Division related content most days. hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for future notifications for when I do uploads. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.